Let's get into it. And as always, we start off the show with some
News worth knowing!
I'm embarrassed to tell you how many times they had to practice that. All right, let's start. You know, this last week I've been thinking, what is the most disastrous mistake in modern South African history? What is the most disastrous mistake a South African has made? And to be fair, there are some strong contenders. Was it the time when Bafana thought they only needed a draw against Sierra Leone to qualify for the African Cup of Nations? So they time-wasted the end of the match to get a draw? Itumeleng Khune lay around on the ball like he was on Love Island? The game ended, South Africa celebrated, and then after the game, Bafana discovered that they actually had to win that game, and so had time-wasted themselves out of qualifying for AFCON. And coach Pitso Mosimane, seen here realizing this was so bad he would have to leave the country and coach overseas to ever feel peace again, he apologized to the nation for that mistake. That mistake was pretty disastrous, but maybe they've been worse. What about the time when then Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba sent, let's just call it a homemade private parts video, to someone who was not his wife, using the now unforgettable phrase, imagine this in your mouth. Hey, listen, don't be mad at me. I'm just reporting what happened. This is journalism. That happened. That video got leaked. Everybody saw that video, whether they wanted to or not. That was really, really bad, guys. And Malusi Gigaba, at the time, people thought he was going to be the next president. And that video then came out. I mean, imagine that in your mouth. Was that worse than Bafana against Sierra Leone? I don't know. But I think what happened with ActionSA and the VAT budget last week was worse than both of those things. Sorry to Bafana. I know you were hoping to win this most disastrous mistake prize so you could finally win something, but it's not you. It's not you. Here's what happened with ActionSA. You know how the ANC tried to force through a budget for South Africa with a VAT increase of 2%, right, months ago? That increase would have caused inflation, made everything worse and more expensive, punished all South Africans during a cost of living crisis, and particularly punished poor people, because that's what VAT increases do. They particularly punish poor people. The ANC wanted to do that, which is crazy, considering how unpopular such a move is. The whole country hated it. In fact, the only person celebrating was Thabo Bester, because finally there was something more unpopular than him. Finally. So then the ANC tried to push through a new budget with a smaller VAT increase of 0.5% this year and 0.5% next year. But that was also rejected. Everyone was against it, people. The DA, EFF, and MK were all against it. Do you know how hard it is to get the DA, EFF, and MK to be on the same team? It's like getting an agreement between Sizwe Dlomo, Vusi Thembekwayo, and Unati, guys. It just doesn't happen. They're never on the same team. They're sworn enemies. But the ANC insisted they would find a way to get this VAT budget through, and they started negotiating with everyone. But nobody thought they'd get anywhere, because every party knew how unpopular they would be if they helped the ANC get the VAT budget through. And then, shockingly, ActionSA did a thing. Here's how the budget works. Before it goes to be voted on by MPs, it has to get past something called a standing committee that deals with the fiscal framework of the budget. The ANC doesn't have a majority in that committee, but ActionSA is also in that standing committee, and they tabled a proposal to accept the fiscal framework of the budget. So they decided to accept the fiscal framework of the budget with recommendations that government financiers find a different way to raise money besides a VAT increase. The ANC supported that proposal. Now, immediately that should have set off alarm bells, right? The ANC wants the VAT increase, so if they're supporting your proposal is probably good for their VAT increase, right? It's like Kaizer Chiefs supporting a proposal to cancel this season and pretend it's never happened. You have to ask why they support that. They might have a reason. But ActionSA's proposal to accept the fiscal framework with recommendations was passed with ANC support, and the budget went to a vote in Parliament and was passed by a narrow majority there. And ActionSA triumphantly announced that they had thwarted the VAT. There would be no VAT increase. And they, ActionSA, were South Africa's heroes, they said. And it was wild because immediately everyone turned on ActionSA and said, what the hell have you done? Because it turns out everyone else seemed to know this except ActionSA. It turns out that in the Standing Committee on the Budget's fiscal framework, you can only accept the budget or amend it. ActionSA's proposal accepted the budget with recommendations, but the recommendations are not binding. They don't have to be acted upon. The ANC can easily just ignore the recommendations and VAT will increase to 0.5% on the 1st of May. ActionSA thought they had thwarted the budget. Actually, it seems they've handed it to the ANC on a silver platter. Now, initially, ActionSA leaders like Athol Trollip and Herman Mashaba insisted that everyone else was wrong and they were right. But quickly, that started to change. And I actually think I know the moment that killed their confidence. Vodacom has around 50 million customers, right? I'm one of them. Is anybody here with Vodacom? So you know for sure about what I'm about to say, because probably, like the audience like me, there are plenty of Vodacom customers in ActionSA. And on Thursday afternoon, we all got that SMS from Vodacom that said, quote, with the recent VAT increase announcement, certain charges on your bill will change effective 25 May. Did you guys get that SMS? Yeah, you did. I think that's what it was. I think that was the moment when ActionSA members with Vodacom went, oh no, oh no. Turns out Delulu is not the Salulu, ActionSA. And it wasn't just Vodacom. Other companies, including insurers and banks, sent out similar correspondence last week. And you could literally see ActionSA changing its tune. To quote the voice of a generation.
Wow, the pressure is getting worse.
The pressure was truly getting worse. ActionSA went from early in the week, quote, the VAT hike has been scrapped thanks to ActionSA, to later in the week, quote, if we make a mistake, we will own that mistake. You would only say that if you know that you made a mistake. The pressure is truly getting worse, as that iconic Ghanaian mama said. So now, barring a surprise, South Africa is getting a VAT hike to 15.5% on the 1st of May, which will particularly screw poorer people and workers. Ironically, the 1st of May is also Workers' Day. Way to rub it in. Thank you, ANC. And if that happens, the ANC is in trouble, but ActionSA may be in big trouble, people. They're a small party. They're still trying to convince people to care for them and vote for them. And now they're a small party that seems to have made a generational error that is universally unpopular and will make life worse for South Africans. It's not looking good, bruv. And everybody knows they gave the ANC the support the ANC needed to get the VAT increase through. That could potentially become an extinction event for the whole party, even in the next elections in 2026, the local ones. How do you trust and vote for the people who can make this kind of mistake? Ironically, ActionSA's best hope could be their arch enemies, the Democratic Alliance, because the DA has taken the entire process to court. They argue that the Standing Committee on the Fiscal Framework didn't follow the correct procedures, and as such, the session to accept the fiscal framework was unlawful. So the DA may save the day, thwart the budget, and give ActionSA the chance to undo their unbelievable error. But making an error that large is truly, like, guys, I know it's the line of the show, but South Africa is a movie, people. I don't know where else this would happen.